No 3D models were harmed in the making of this video.
Let's learn how to export from Moi3D to Blender. Save time, avoid retopology, export properly. Meet Timmy. Timmy and I had a conversation and I let him know that he's going to get exported. Will it hurt? You're going to find out. Timmy, we salute you for your bravery, volunteering for this mission, stepping out into the unknown, to the land of Blender, to the land of Keyshot. Your sacrifice for our education. You're a spaceman now, Timmy, and regardless of what happens next, you will be remembered. Alright, we're back and we're talking export settings again, only this time it's not for 3D printing. This time we're talking about moving between 3D software, and that means maintaining quads as much as possible. Select everything that you'd like to export. File, export, give it a name. Let's call this Timmy. Now, from the save as type, you want to select FBX. You could also select OBJ. I like to do FBX. I get the kind of consistent results with this, and so I recommend that you use that as well. Click save. And here we go. The meshing options dialog box pops up. This is the same dialog box from our 3D printing export settings video that you can check out if you're doing that kind of stuff. Now, we want to select n-gons for this export type, and that's going to allow for more than 4-sided polys, but you're going to get a kind of a better result. Right now, this is still one of the best ways to export from NURBs to polys. All right, the first example for exporting polys that I'm going to show you is if you're just going to render it. You're going to send it to, say, Keyshot. You want to increase your polygon count so that everything is really smooth. Simply adjust the slider, smooth it out. Now, if I'd like to get a little bit more breakup in these larger faces here, I can use divide larger than. I'll add a value here, and you can experiment with this live preview and see how now it breaks up the surface again. Notice on the divide larger than, when I entered the 2 value, it broke up a lot of it, but it didn't do anything with these surfaces here. Well, that's because under divide larger than right now, we're only affecting curved surfaces. If I change that to planes, notice the change. Now the change is not happening on our curved surfaces, and it's only happening on planar surfaces. If you set this to all, it's going to do both. We just need enough polys in here to give us a good result. We're not too worried about editing this further. So for something like this, I'm just going to click OK. We are about to launch Timmy out into space. I hope you're ready, buddy. You're about to go to Keyshot. Hold on tight.
Oh, that's not right. That's not healthy. Oh, does that hurt? Oh, God. Why are you swelling? Oh, are you stuck to the screen?
Timmy, looking good, buddy. You made it in one piece. Look how well the export settings work. The normals, the smoothing, everything looks fantastic. Now, whether we kick this over to Keyshot or we send it to Blender or other 3D softwares, the export settings within inside of Moi are going to give you great rendering results. And we're back in Moi. What if I love sub-D modeling and I need to sub-D model this? Oh, because it's all about those subdivision surfaces, baby. We know that that means edge loops, controlling your polygonal flow. We want to keep the poly count low, so we can lower the polygon count to something a little bit more manageable, but we already run into some problems, right? We need these edges to connect. We can already see some plus sides. We're getting edge loops where there's fillets and chamfers. However, you can see areas here where we have like a little triangle of a poly, and then these are clearly n-gons. Look at these edges here, right? There's one here that lines up with this one here. There's one here that lines up with this one here. So there is some intelligent things happening within this export where it's still going to try to line these up. Once you place it inside of Blender, you delete these edges, and then you slice in your own edges here to kind of connect these up. There's a little bit of cleanup to do. However, that is a lot easier than retopologizing the entire model. Let's improve it a little farther. Here's one trick that will help you. Divide larger than and avoid smaller than. Make these the same number. Let's try 3 for both. That's going to bring the smaller surfaces and the larger surfaces a little bit closer in line. Next, experiment with fewer and more polygons. Each model is a little bit different, a little bit of a different flavor, and you can find the sweet spot where things are pretty close. All right, so after some experimentation, This is what I arrived at for the export settings for this particular model. I got 5 and 5 for divide larger than and avoid smaller than. I've reduced the polygon count to something that is easier to manage, easier to clean up. You want to keep enough polys to maintain the shape of what you're doing, especially when you're dealing with these curves moving in multiple directions. You only want enough where you can kind of control the surfaces, right? And you let the sub D do the rest. So this is going to minimize our cleanup and build a quality sub D model. All right, Timmy, brace yourself to infinity and beyond. You know what I'm saying, man? Hold on to your coconuts. Here we go. There was a really clear voice in my head right now telling me that subjecting you to cringy jokes in the middle of a serious tutorial, not the best idea. And yet, I'm still doing it. All right, here we are in Blender. I'll tab into these so you can see. Here's how our polys came through. And let me swap to a rendered view. So look at, even with this, really low poly, look how the normals and the smoothing is handled. It comes through exceptionally well. So you're good to get in here and use your modeling tools inside of Blender, clean this up, add more to it, do whatever you got to do. You're off to the races with something that is editable. A note on importing. Blender is an amazing piece of software, and it's developing faster than any other 3D software out there currently. There's so many reasons why it's amazing, not the least of which is that it is completely free. One important note though, because the development of Blender is so much faster than other softwares, they use the latest code base or FBX importing that other softwares don't even use yet. If you are exporting from Moi and you get an error when trying to import, then try using OBJ. At the time of recording this, you can download the Moi version 4 beta. The latest release of that I think was just this September or October. If FBX does not work, try OBJ. If OBJ does not work, download the beta of Moi version 4 and it will work. This is subject to change as software gets updated, both with Moi3D and with Blender. Hey, go do something nice for someone and don't even tell them that you did it. Watch what happens. I'm telling you. You finish the tutorial, you know what that means. You know what to do. All right, take care. Bye-bye.